You did everything right. You spent 30 years making mortgage payments. You sacrificed vacations, delayed purchases, and funneled every extra dollar into paying off your house early. And finally, after 3 decades of discipline, you made that final payment. The house is yours completely, fully, 100% paid off. No more mortgage. No more monthly payment hanging over your head. You should feel wealthy. You should feel secure. You own a $500,000 asset outright, but here's what nobody tells you. That paid-off house isn't just sitting there appreciating peacefully. It's quietly, invisibly draining your wealth potential. While you're celebrating ownership, that $500,000 is locked away doing nothing, earning nothing, building nothing. It's dead equity. And every year you keep it there, you're losing tens of thousands of dollars in wealth you could have built. You're not alone in thinking this sounds backwards. Society taught you that paying off your house is the ultimate financial goal, the cornerstone of the American dream. But the wealthiest people don't think this way. They understand something critical. Your primary residence isn't an investment, it's an expense. And treating a paid-off home as your biggest asset might be the most expensive financial decision you ever make. How can owning a house outright hurt your wealth? How can being debt-free be a bad thing? And why does your bank celebrate when you pay off your mortgage early, while wealthy investors keep theirs for 30 years? Hit like and subscribe. Let's break down exactly why this happens. The concept of home equity as wealth was carefully constructed by post-World War II economic policy. After the war, the U.S. government needed to stabilize the economy and keep millions of returning soldiers employed. The solution? Create a massive homeownership boom. The Federal Housing Administration introduced 30-year fixed mortgages in the 1950s, and suddenly, homeownership became accessible to the middle class for the first time. But here's what they needed to sell: the idea that your house is your greatest investment. Banks, real estate agents, and government programs all pushed the same message: own your home, build equity, achieve financial security. It worked. By 1960, homeownership rates jumped from 44% to 62%. The narrative became gospel: pay off your house and you'll be wealthy. The statistics tell a different story. According to the Federal Reserve, the median American household has a net worth of $193,000. Of that, $190,000 is home equity. That means 99% of their wealth is locked in an illiquid, non-income producing asset. Meanwhile, the wealthiest 10% of Americans hold only 28% of their net worth in primary residences. They understand what the middle class doesn't. Real wealth comes from assets that generate cash flow: businesses, stocks, bonds, rental properties. Your paid-off house generates zero cash flow. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, puts it bluntly: your house is not an asset, it's a liability. Why? Because it takes money out of your pocket every month: property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities. It doesn't put money in. The equity sitting in your house is frozen capital. It's not working for you. It's just sitting there, appreciating at roughly 3–4% annually, which barely keeps pace with inflation. Meanwhile, that same capital invested in diversified assets could generate 8–10% returns annually. The system was designed to make you feel wealthy while keeping you cash poor. A paid-off house creates the illusion of security while silently limiting your financial growth. That's not an accident, it's how the system was built. Let's meet Michael. 10 years ago, Michael inherited $300,000. He had two choices: invest it or pay off his remaining $300,000 mortgage. Michael chose what seemed responsible. He paid off his house. No more debt. He owned his $500,000 home outright. It felt amazing, but here's what Michael didn't calculate: opportunity cost. That $300,000 locked into home equity earned him nothing except peace of mind. Meanwhile, if he had invested that $300,000 in a simple S&P 500 index fund averaging 10% annual returns, it would have grown to $778,000 over 10 years. By paying off his house, Michael lost $478,000 in potential wealth. His house is still worth $500,000. It appreciated maybe 3% annually, bringing it to $672,000. But that's irrelevant because he can't access that appreciation without selling the house or taking out another loan. Michael didn't lose $478,000 through bad luck or poor investing. He lost it by making the responsible decisions society told him to make. That's opportunity cost the wealth you sacrifice by choosing one path over another. But here's where it gets worse. Michael's property taxes are $8,000 a year. His homeowner's insurance is $2,500. Maintenance averages $5,000 annually. That's $15,500 per year in expenses on an asset that produces zero income. Over 10 years, he's spent $155,000 just to own a house that doesn't pay him back. If he had kept the mortgage and invested the $300,000, the investment returns would have covered his mortgage payments and still left him with over $400,000 in additional wealth. Now let's add the psychological trap. Michael feels wealthy because he owns his house, but he's actually wealth poor. If an emergency strikes medical bills, job loss, unexpected expense, he has no liquid capital. His $500,000 house can't pay his bills. He would need to take out a home equity loan, going back into debt, or sell the house, losing his security. The paid-off house created a false sense of financial safety. This is the mechanism. Home equity feels like wealth because you can see it on a balance sheet. But wealth isn't what you own, it's what your assets generate for you. A rental property generating $2,000 a month in cash flow is infinitely more valuable than a paid-off house with $500,000 in frozen equity. One puts money in your pocket, the other just sits there. The wealthiest people leverage home equity. They keep mortgages intentionally, even when they could pay them off, because they understand that borrowed money at 3–4% interest, invested at 8–10% returns, creates a 4–6% profit spread. That's arbitrage. That's how wealth compounds. Paying off your house eliminates that opportunity entirely. Let's quantify exactly what a paid-off house costs you over a lifetime. Assume you're 35 years old. You have a $400,000 house with a $300,000 mortgage at 3.5% interest. You decide to aggressively pay it off in 10 years instead of 30. Scenario A. Pay off house in 10 years extra payments. After $1,500 month beyond normal mortgage, house paid off by age 45, $300,000 locked in home equity, home appreciates 3% annually to $538,000 by age 65. At retirement, $538,000 in home equity, $0 in investments. Scenario B, keep mortgage. Invest the extra $1,500. Maintain 30-year mortgage. Pay only minimum, invest extra $1,500 month at 8% annual return. By age 45, 10 years, investment account equals $274,000. Continue investing $1,500 month for 20 more years. At retirement, age 65, investment account equals $1,720,000, house worth $538,000, mortgage balance $185,000, net wealth $2,073,000. The difference? $1,535,000. By choosing to pay off the house early, you sacrificed $1.5 million in wealth over 30 years. That's not exaggeration, that's compound interest math. But the emotional cost is even higher. In scenario A, you're house rich and cash poor at retirement. Your entire net worth is one illiquid asset. In scenario B, you have flexibility. You can draw from investments while keeping the house. You can sell if needed and still have $1.7 million remaining. You can pass wealth to your children. You have options. The paid-off house locks you into one path with no flexibility. This is why you feel trapped even when you own your house. The equity isn't accessible without major financial moves, selling, refinancing, or reverse mortgages. It's wealth on paper, but poverty in practice. That cognitive dissonance, feeling wealthy but broke, destroys financial peace more than the mortgage ever did. And here's the cruel irony. The more equity you build, the less financial flexibility you have. A $500,000 paid-off house provides zero monthly income, but $500,000 invested in dividend stocks could generate $15,000, $20,000 annually in passive income. One requires you to work until you can't anymore. The other creates the freedom to stop working entirely. The system was designed to make you feel secure in homeownership while quietly limiting your wealth potential. The bank celebrates when you pay off your mortgage because you just eliminated your leverage, the tool wealthy people use to multiply capital. You removed yourself from the wealth-building game entirely. The solution isn't to avoid homeownership. It's to reframe how you think about your house and strategically use it as a tool for wealth building, not wealth storage. Stop paying extra on your mortgage. If you currently make extra principal payments, stop immediately. Redirect that money into investments, index funds, retirement accounts, or income-producing assets. If your mortgage rate is below 5%, you're better off investing the difference than paying down cheap debt. Run the math. A 3.5% mortgage costs you $3,500 annually per $100,000 borrowed. That same $100,000 invested at 8% earns you $8,000 annually. You're gaining $4,500 per year by keeping the mortgage. Consider a cash-out refinance. If you already own your home outright, consider taking out a mortgage or home equity line of credit, HELOC, to extract 30 to 50% of your equity. Yes, you're going back into debt, but strategically. Use that capital to invest in diversified assets. A $200,000 cash-out refinance at 4% costs you $8,000 annually in interest. But $200,000 invested at 8% generates $16,000 annually. You're creating $8,000 per year in additional wealth while maintaining homeownership. Build liquid wealth before equity. Prioritize liquidity over equity accumulation. Aim for 6-12 months of expenses in accessible cash or investments before aggressively paying down your mortgage. This prevents the trap Michael fell into, being equity rich but cash poor. Financial security comes from accessible capital, not locked equity. Reframe your house as an expense, not an investment. Your primary residence is not an investment. It's a lifestyle expense. Calculate your true housing cost. Mortgage plus taxes plus insurance plus maintenance. Compare that to renting. Often, the total cost of ownership exceeds rent when you factor in opportunity cost. This doesn't mean don't buy a house. It means recognize what you're buying. You're purchasing a lifestyle, not building wealth. Real wealth comes from separate investments. Use leverage as a wealth tool. Wealthy individuals use mortgages as leverage to multiply capital. Borrow at 3-4%. Invest at 8-10%. Capture the spread. This requires discipline. You must actually invest the difference, not spend it. But done correctly, leverage transforms your house from a wealth anchor into a wealth accelerator. Mindset shift required. Understand that debt isn't inherently bad. Bad debt funds consumption. Credit cards, car loans for depreciating assets. Good debt funds cash flowing or appreciating assets. A mortgage on a stable house at a low interest rate while you invest the difference is good debt. It's a tool, not a trap. The difficulty is psychological. Society conditioned you to fear debt and worship home equity. Breaking that programming feels uncomfortable. You'll face criticism from family and friends who believe paying off the house is the only responsible path, but their programming keeps them trapped in the same wealth-limiting cycle. Recognize this truth. The bank doesn't want you to pay off your mortgage early because they lose interest income. But they also don't want you to understand leverage, because if you did, you'd use debt to build wealth faster than they can. The system profits when you're house rich and cash poor. Break free by using the same tools wealthy people use: strategic debt and invested capital. Here's the core revelation. A paid-off home isn't the symbol of financial success you were told it was. It's a wealth trap disguised as security. The system was designed to make you feel rich while keeping you cash poor, locking your capital in an illiquid asset that generates zero returns while simultaneously costing you tens of thousands in annual expenses and hundreds of thousands in lost investment opportunity. You asked at the beginning how owning a house outright could hurt your wealth. Now you know, because every dollar trapped in home equity is a dollar that can't compound, can't generate income, and can't build real financial freedom. The wealthiest people understand this. That's why they keep mortgages, leverage equity, and prioritize cash flow over ownership. Now you know the system. The paid-off house is a finish line designed to make you stop running to convince you you've made it, so you never build the wealth that creates actual freedom. But you can see through it now. You can choose differently. Your house can be part of your wealth-building strategy, but only if you stop treating it as the strategy itself. Use leverage wisely. Invest the difference. Build liquid wealth. And remember, real financial security doesn't come from what you own, it comes from what your assets generate for you. If this changed how you see your home and your mortgage, let me know in the comments. Your financial future depends on understanding this difference. Choose leverage, not lockdown.